If you want to massively improve as an improviser in 2023, this is the approach you need to follow. Just like most of you, I've tried a whole different number of practice techniques and approaches, but this method has given me and my students huge results and really transformed our playing. And to prove I'm not leading you on, this is the exact approach I'm going to be using all through the year, and I'm going to be posting clips of my practice and progress over on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. The first thing to do is a little bit of preparation. Find a musician whose improvisations you love and who you want to sound like. And it doesn't matter if that seems wildly out of reach at this stage, just make sure it's a musician whose music you're not going to get sick of. Now select some solos by that musician that you're going to transcribe throughout the year. You might find the next steps a little bit easier if they're all from a similar time period, just to avoid them being too different stylistically. Like if you took a Coltrane solo from the mid-50s and another from the mid-60s, there might not be too many similarities between them. Make sure you select a number of solos that you're actually going to be able to get through in a year. Now, I like to spend at least a month on each solo, and I know that I'm going to have far less practice time in summer, what with gigs and everything, so I'm going to choose 6. And however many you've chosen, spread them out equally through the year. So for me, 1 every 2 months. And that's the deadline. That's how long you've got to nail each solo. Now that you've done all of that preparation, it's time to get to the grind and start transcribing that first solo. Work it out by ear, at full speed if you can, and once you've worked it out, slow it down and really make sure you're paying attention to the articulation and the time feel. I like to use Transcribe to help me do this, so I can slow it down, loop sections and play along, but there's also the amazing Slowdowner and a whole load of other apps that do similar things. Whatever you're using, make sure you're getting all of that subtlety and then start speeding it up so we keep the subtlety but get it at full speed. And that solo is going to be full of little nuggets of language or cells. Note down any you particularly like or that outline the harmony really clearly, and also keep an eye out for just any cool moments, whether it's a cool bit of language or a harmonic device, anything. Because we want to work on these alongside the transcription. Now, once again, it's really important to work within a set time frame here. Specific and measurable goals are crucial to not giving up on this process too early. I've had the best success when limiting myself to 2 cells over major chords, 2 over dominants, and 2 over minor chords each month, alongside 1 harmonic device each month. And this will almost definitely mean that you find more cells and devices in the solo than you're able to work on, but that's fine. Still write them down so you can come back to them later in the year. And then next month, move on to a new batch of cells and devices. And move on even if the first lot don't feel 100% comfortable yet. It'll help keep your practice fresh and therefore motivation up. But also, so often these things need a bit of time to settle in your subconscious before they're going to come out in your playing anyway. And when it's time to move on to the next solo based on that time frame we laid out earlier, repeat this whole process. Transcribe it by ear, note down any cells, harmonic devices, rhythmic devices, and so on, and then just work your way through them. Now, when you're doing the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th solo, you might start to notice some ideas that get repeated across each one. And this is why we want to focus in on one musician for the whole time. Everyone has their own stock ideas that they keep falling back on, and once we can spot these, and in particular spot how the musician uses them, we can get deeper inside their playing and start to sound more and more like them. So make sure that any of these repeated ideas, whether it's melodic cells, rhythmic devices, harmonic devices, whatever it is, include it in your practice. And the final step in all of this is to get out there and start playing with other musicians. So often when we're practicing, progress can feel really slow, but we get up on the bandstand or we start jamming with some friends, and all that work we put in starts to come out in our playing. And also, other musicians almost always notice your progress far more quickly than you do, and it's always nice to get a compliment from a musician you respect, right? And if you keep this up, by the end of the year, you're going to have a good number of that musician's solos under your fingers, you'll have absorbed a whole bunch of their cells and licks, your time feel and articulation will start to match theirs, You'll really start to sound like them, and your improvisations will be unrecognizable from the start of the year. And to find out the best method for absorbing language really deeply, check out this video next.